All right. So we did not like put out a graphic or put out a topic for this call because as Kim and I have kind of been talking about what we wanted to chat about tonight, we had initially kind of talked about, coming in and talking about organizing your business. We were going to talk a little bit about customer care and follow-ups and just kind of time management with this, especially with this season of the year that we're in. I know that's a bucket that a lot of us are falling in. And she and I got to talking back and forth today. We were going back and forth in voice messages. We probably spent an hour's worth of voice messages back and forth today. I said we should just call each other next time. And we kind of got to talking today and decided to go in a completely different direction. And it's not because those things are not important. And if we have time tonight, we can actually chat through a little bit of that at the end of the call. I don't want to hold us too long tonight. Maybe we can do that, even just kind of break that down in our chat tomorrow if we run out of time. So it's not that those things aren't important. It's not that time management's not important. It's not that credit card declines are not important. It's not that customer care follow-up is not important. Those are must-dos. Those are must-dos in your business, daily, weekly, and monthly. But none of that matters if you are not going after the right people and intentionally building out new leader legs in your business. And that's kind of what we were talking about today, just kind of this greater overarching mindset that we have to have as we're approaching our business. And so tonight is just kind of a real and raw behind the scenes of the transformation and just some mindset changes that Kim and I are both having, some different perspective shifts that we're having. Both of us have kind of come to this whole different level of mindset lately. And really this realization that when it comes down to it, if you're struggling in your business, if you're not experiencing momentum in your business, if you're not feeling energized in your business, it probably is not about time management. It's probably not about, when and how often you're checking in with your customers. Again, those things are important. We have to have a system for doing those things. But we're going to share just some tough love and just some like real talk tonight. If that's all that you're focusing on in your business, and if that's your first piece, like if that's where you're focusing your best energy first, customer care and talking about the products and sending credit card declines and chasing orders, you are going to be living in a never-ending cycle of one step forward, one step back, as long as you do this. If we are not intentionally attracting and talking to people about this and for this, for the opportunity, and not intentionally going after big fish who are better than you are, who are better than I am, we're just going to be bringing in new customers and offering great customer service. And what we're really doing when we do that is we're playing the lottery, and we're hoping that we're going to get a Kim, and we're hoping that we're going to get a Chelsea, or we're hoping that we're going to get a Jill Renfro or a Jessica Heffley that just happens to come in and fall in love with these products and that just happens to catch the vision of this business and runs with this. And something that Kim and I were talking about today, just kind of back and forth on voice messages, y'all, it is so much harder in 2024 for that to happen. I feel like 7 years ago, hey everybody, thanks for muting. I feel like 6, 7 years ago, coming into this, it was easier for people to kind of come in, fall in love with the product, and oh, there's a business opportunity attached to this. Tell me more. It still happens. It still happens. But I feel like in 2024, it's a lot harder for that to happen when people like us, those of us who are on this call, who are savvy, we are already out there looking for opportunities. It is so much harder for somebody like us, those who are motivated, those who are driven, to unintentionally stumble on this opportunity because we're already out there looking for it. And I think one of the things that, let me let her in. One of the things that COVID brought us, one of the small blessings that COVID brought us is that it normalized this industry. More people than ever are seeking work from home. They are seeking social media opportunities. And so if we're not marketing ourselves as somebody who can help them, who can get them from point A to point B, they're going to go out there and find somebody else who will. They're going to find somebody else who will. And if you're not, maybe this has just been in my news feed lately, this big new company, is it Make or Made Wellness? One of those. Like I have seen people in my network, flooding over to this company. People who I've had conversations with in the past 5 years going over to this company. And to me, like that has been such social proof that people are looking. They're just looking for the people who are the loudest and boldest about this opportunity. So if you really want to do this, if you actually want to build the kind of income that is going to change your life, it all comes down to this internal conversation of how are you becoming the person that people want to do this with? And that comes through personal development. What am I actually doing to grow myself? And how are you branding yourself? And we can have a whole other conversation about this too. This is not about becoming an influencer. I'm not talking about growing an enormous following, but there is absolutely an element of you needing to brand yourself as someone who is an authority in this, as someone who is a leader to follow in this, to attract the right kind of people. And so as we were talking today, like, we don't want to do y'all a disservice by continuing to just play it small here on these calls, because if you're wanting to go all the way with this, and I think maybe we need to even pause right there and just, like, maybe you just need to be real with yourself. Like, what do you want this to look like for you? I think that's a really important question to ask yourself. Do you want this to just fill in the gaps? And that's great. Like, there are women on our team who just want to make $500 a month to take the pressure off their husbands. And that, like, we are here for it. If that's what you're here for, we're here to support you and love you where you're at. So do you want to do that? Or are you going all the way with this? And I say that because it is possible, y'all, not in a unicorn in the sky kind of way, but in a very tangible, like I shared in the chat this morning, trailer park to 5-star diamond yacht trip kind of way. Like, that is the possibility with this. I have seen people do it. Kim has shared this story so many times. She went from WIC to being a 6-figure earner with this. Like, this is possible. But you've got to be honest with yourself about, number one, what you actually want. And then, are you willing to go and get it? Are you willing to become the person and do the things that is required to do it? And not in a work yourself to death kind of way, but to actually do the things that this requires. And that's, I think, a whole serious conversation you just need to have with yourself. Maybe you want the paycheck, or you want the story, or you want the diamond doc, but the things that are required to get there terrify you a little bit. And y'all, that's okay. Like, all of us come into this with a level of fear. I still face fear on a daily basis in this, but the magic of that is just being able to get clarity on what it is that you want and understand what it is that is going to require. And, which is really at the base of it, becoming and allowing the next version of yourself to step forward in order to do that. I read something a while ago, and I don't know if it was in a book or if it was probably on some stupid Instagram meme, but it said that we will choose a familiar hell over an unfamiliar heaven. And isn't that true? Like, when we really think about it, like, we will always default back to what we're comfortable with. And for a lot of us who have been doing this business for a long time, we default back to the activities that feel like a little bit of a stretch. Like, gosh, I didn't used to post on social media before, but I am now posting on social media. I never would have sent somebody a voice message before, but now I am. And so we almost like trick ourselves into thinking that we've fully gotten out of our comfort zone. But are we out of our comfort zone in a way that's actually moving the needle forward? And that's kind of the challenge, And I remember, back when I had just started this and I had really like thought that I was bought in. I had gotten back from my first convention. I watched Stephanie walk across the stage and I was like, yes, that's going to be me. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to retire from teaching. I'm going to be able to be home with my babies. Like, this is what I'm doing. I came back and I kind of got to work and I was like, okay, wow. Like, there's actually things I'm going to have to change in order to make that happen. I have to start running my own team calls. I have to start a team page because I had a vision for what I wanted to look like. I didn't love public speaking. I didn't love the idea of putting myself out there on social media, but I was like, okay, if I'm going to level up and if that's actually what I want to do, this is what it requires. And I resisted that for so long, and honestly, I thought I was all in for a really long time. And I think that we can think that we're all in for a long time, but in the back of our mind, if we aren't careful, and I'm just going to call this out on the carpet tonight, because I don't know if anybody else has ever had this thought, but this is a thought that it was a subconscious thought that I was having that was causing me to self-sabotage. So we're just going to put this out there tonight. And I'm just going to level with you. There are diamonds out there currently, right now, who got lucky in this business. I'm just going to say it. Like, there are diamonds who freaking got lucky and they signed a runner, or they signed 2 or 3 worker bees and they are sitting back fat and happy with their 40K per month paycheck. It happens. They are out there. They probably make up 5% of our diamonds, which is maybe 10 to 15 people, but they do exist. And I think subconsciously for a long, long time, just being real transparent with y'all, I thought, and again, subconscious thought, maybe that'll be me. If I just show up long enough and I don't quit long enough and I keep talking about the products and I keep going to convention every year, it's going to happen. Brooke Hemingway is going to find her way to me and she's going to fall in love with these products and she's going to see the business opportunity to run with. You know, I had always been a hard worker. I've always been a hard worker. You know, honestly, like I pride myself on being the hardest worker in the room, like to a fault sometimes. But I realized much too late in this, but not too late. Everybody's timeline is perfect. But I wasn't working at the mental level of a diamond because there were still things that I was avoiding. And, you know, I think that's the difference. The things that were going to enable me to attract somebody like Brooke Hemingway, I wasn't doing. I wasn't growing myself at the level that I needed to in order to attract her. I wasn't posting for a business builder. I was posting for product users. And looking back, like that's why I think I was a slower grower with this. It took me 4 years to get to Emerald. Would I do those 4 years all over again? 100%. But could I have gotten there faster if I had a different kind of growth mindset? 100%. You know, maybe it wouldn't have taken me 8 years to get to Diamond. And I'm saying that because 2025 is the year that this team is going diamond. The line has been drawn in the sand. We have made the decision. And not only am I going diamond, Kim is going diamond, and we are growing up other jewels on this team this year because we're drawing our line in the sand, because we're leveling up our mindset, because we're not going to stay stuck in these same activities that feel just uncomfortable enough to get us by, to keep us showing up. We're actually going to break through of those things and we are going to level up because there's no other option. This is it. Okay. I have a completely different mindset in the past 6 months with this. And to be honest, kind of circling back to what we started with tonight, I spend very little time on customer care. I spend very little time on credit card declines and annual renewals. I do those things, but it's very little of my time because, you know, here's kind of my mindset around that. If they're not serious about doing this business and they're not serious about taking their health into their own hands, I can only take them so far with this. I can only take them so far. I'm going to do my due diligence. I'm going to make sure I onboard them well. I'm going to make sure that they get connected with all of our resources, with all of our team page. I'm going to put them in the three-way message. I'm going to do all those things. But if they're not playing ball with me, and if they're not interested in growing this business or growing themselves, I can only take them so far. And it's almost like, and I'm going to stop talking in just a minute because I know Kim has some things to share, but it almost comes down to this. It's like at the end of the day, and all of you relate to this because we're all moms, we're all wives, we're all working, we're all like, we have all of the plates that we're juggling. We only have X amount of energy and time to give to Plexus on a daily basis. Like we all have the same 24 hours, and some of us have less hours within that 24-hour day than others. Flat out, like this is realistically what I have to give. You know, on a homeschool day, I have an hour and a half to give to Plexus when my kids are at home and they need my full attention. That's it. And so you want to make sure that you're putting your best energy and best time into the things that matter most. And for me, that's coaching my team. That's posting and speaking to big fish, to people that I want to run to Jewel with, and being in intentional conversations. That's it. So if I only have so much energy in the bucket today, this is where my energy is going to be spent. And honestly, like right now, this is what my days look like because life is insane for us right now. Like Jason is still not home. He won't be home till probably 10 o'clock tonight because he's got a basketball game. He got up and left at 6. He's going to be home at 10. This is our life right now. I wake up at 5. I map out my day. I do my brain dump for the day. Waking up early. I sit and I think about my business and what I want to focus on that day. I'm thinking about my business for 15 minutes, probably in the morning. I pop in a podcast. I fill myself up first, and then I'm getting in my team chat or I'm sending a voice message to one of my level ones. So I'm filling myself up, and then I'm pouring out my best energy first. Then I'm going to hop in. I'm going to do my personal follow-ups. I'm going to do my messages. I'm going to interact with those big fish that I'm talking to on social media. I'm going to plan out content for the day. And I start with my Plexus content, and then I fill everything else around it. Like, am I sharing reset today? Am I talking about the business today? And then I fill in everything else around it. And if that's all I've done for the day, then I've won. I've won the day. I'm giving my best energy to the things that matter first. I'm bettering myself. I'm building my existing team, and I'm attracting and I'm onboarding my next jewels. That's it. And if you want to write those things down, that's a really good checklist to have. I am intentionally bettering myself. So it's a podcast, it's a book, it's a devotion, it's something. I'm pouring into my existing team, and I'm attracting and onboarding my next jewels. That's it. Later in the day, if I get another work block, like if my kids do iPad for 45 minutes, that's when I'm doing my credit card declines. That's when I'm doing, and I'm coming in and doing the cleanup, and I'm doing those little menial things. I'm doing my customer check-ins, because those things don't really require me to think. They don't really require me to expand a whole bunch of energy. Those are checklist items. I want to give my best energy to the things that matter. And another aha moment I've had, and I'm going to close this down, is in the past 6 months, is just to kind of go back to what I said a while ago. You need to think more about your business. And some of y'all have heard me say that recently. It is the greatest gift that you can give your business. And really what that looks like, y'all are smart, and this is not rocket science. You've heard me say that 100 times. Plexus and network marketing is not rocket science. I promise all of the answers that you are looking for your business are already inside yourself. You've just got to get quiet and listen and think about what you want to do. So for instance, if your personal goal this month is to bring in or to earn the Christmas cash, okay, you're bringing in 8 people and you're earning the Christmas cash. Okay, let's break that down. When we're sitting down and thinking, that's 2 people a week. Okay, how am I going to do that? How am I going to bring in 2 people a week? That feels a lot more doable than 8. Okay, am I running an event every week? Okay, throw that in your mind. Like, do I need to run an event this week? Am I talking strategically about reset in my stories every single day? Am I posting like I want to recruit 2 new customers each week? Like, is my activity matching my goal? I'm going to sit down and I'm going to think through it. I'm going to plan out my content. I'm going to plan out my conversations. I'm going to plan out any events that I'm running. And I'm just thinking. And honestly, that takes us 10 minutes if we really sit down and do it. If your goal is to bring in a new brand ambassador every month, like to develop a new level 1 silver, a new level 1 senior silver, how are you showing up in your feed like a leader that somebody wants to follow? Are you improving yourself and leveling up in your own mindset so that you can attract that person? Are you having bold conversations with people? Are you sending 1 to 2 business asks per day? Like, is your action matching your goal? And so I think really like stopping and sitting about where you want to go and what the action steps are that are going to take, like, you already know it. You already know it. And that's where Kim and I can come in. If you're like, okay, I need to run an event. I don't have a template for an event. Kim, what do you have? Kim's got 20 events she can send you from the Jewel page. Like, we can help fill in the gaps of things. Oh, I need to send out a reach out message. Kim, I don't have any verbiage for a reach out message. We can help you fill in those gaps, but you need to sit down and just think through what's the action that we need to take. Kim, I have a couple of more things to share, but I know you had some thoughts around this too. Do you want to hop in and share a couple of thoughts, kind of on this vein?
I mean, go ahead. I know. I'm like, I feel like Chelsea could run this whole on call tonight. And I've got like stuff to add as she's saying. I'm like, y'all, I'm like, okay, God, help me be concise and just touch on like what this is totally different than like what she said is what we plan. We were like, I've got girls that are like, how are you staying organized? After a big month like November, we bring in more people, typically more level 2s. It can just kind of seem like that first week of the month that you're kind of buried in customer care. And so my plan was to be, okay, here's how I organize my binder and here's how I keep my to-dos organized. But Chelsea, this morning when I was messaging her about it, like she really hit the nail on the head when she's like, we can be so bogged down in like just trying to help somebody stay on the products and just trying to make sure they're taking them the right way and just trying to like, and like literally yes, the products matter. But she hit the nail on the head when she said, if I have to check in on you every single day or multiple times a week for you to take your products, you are never building a business with this. You don't have what it takes, right? And so I know that can sound, Chelsea and I have both had to work through feeling like, oh gosh, like if we just put out there what we're going for, but no, in reality, we playing small is holding all of you back too. And so if we could not just get clear on both of us were having these epiphanies and revelations behind the scenes separately and yet together at the same time in our own ways, where I was telling her, I'm like, Chelsea, I have been literally posting about health and sickness and candida overgrowth and symptoms on my page for years. And you know what? I loved it. It's totally like brought me so many millions of customers, but that's exactly what it did. Like the level of amount of people I brought in on a monthly basis would give most people in this business massive anxiety, like 20, 30, 40 level 1s. How do you take care of that many people? And guess what I couldn't do when I was doing that? Mentor my team. Guess what I couldn't do? Give anyone great one-on-one attention to the people that really deserved it, right? Guess what? I was like stuck, like she said, in this revolving door of like so many of us are just like we sign our four and we don't even really care who they are. We just want our four. And we don't, again, really kind of care the caliber of person, just somebody that's going to sign up and we've got our $200 holiday cash, or we've got our four for the month. And then what happens is we have to fight so much and expend so much energy just to give people enough care to kind of keep them on the products or to keep them hanging on the 60 or the 90 days because they're not the kind of person that we are, where they're going to invest in themselves and they're going to do it. Chelsea didn't have anybody checking in on her every day, Chelsea's never checked in on me every day. Are you showing up for your business today, Kim? I don't need her to do that. She didn't need Stephanie Shaughnessy to do that, right? And if you want to attract that kind of person, and you do, right? Like you cannot be caught in that thing. So I'm like, yes, does it matter that I take care of my customers? Absolutely. But listen, you can take care of your customers once a week in a quick voice clip or something super simplified like Chelsea does, or it can be massively complicated and you can be in your inbox with these same people every single day, giving them so much of your time, and then you have nothing left for the things that matter, like she said. And so like we've had these revelations, like Chelsea was like, listen, her page, she's the queen, right? Of systems in the home and all of it. It's amazing. It's blown up for her over the last couple of years. But look at what she's realized lately. Behind the scenes, she had this like whole realization of, wait a minute. Okay, number one, this is not all of who I am, but number two, really what she's telling you is why that happened is she was never going to attract women going jewel with this if she was speaking to the overwhelmed mom who's drowning in her home and in her life. And I had the same realization on my own over here. Oh my gosh, I am literally only speaking to sick people, and my page is only about health. So guess who I'm not speaking to? The people that are already well. Maybe health influencers, fitness professionals, people that are like me that are like, I'm not bringing in, I was not, I should say, I am now, but I was not bringing in the caliber of those people that I like wanted to bring in. I was like, if I want to reach people, like Chelsea keeps saying, we want to find people that are better than us. I don't know about you, but I do. I want to bring in somebody that's going to freaking fly past me. I want to bring in somebody that's going to keep me on my darn toes, right? Like I want to have that. Like we all, but are we, number one, are we showing up to our own businesses that way, right? But also like, are we even speaking to that person? So Chelsea's now shifting. You're seeing her sharing with the business more and in her story and all that. And same with me. My posts and my likes and my is so down right now. But for months, I have been sharing when I'm posting on Instagram so much more about the business and shifting and deleting with that over the products. And you're about to see me do something similar to Chelsea, where I'm just going to go out there and be like, hey, I have not been posting consistently for quite a while because I felt so boxed into health. This page is about healing at the root and everything that, and I'm still torn because I do love health and I love to talk about it. But guess what? I was watching the Jill Renfros and the Brooke Hemingways and these people that are where I want to be, and they have never boxed themselves into health content. And they are literally, there's some leadership. Like, look at how many times did Chelsea or I grab a reel from Jill Renfro and share it in the team chat because she's speaking to the objections that her team is having, the hesitations that her team is having. She's using her page to inspire people to speak to me. Brooke Hemingway, all the time, she's always talking about how she had to break through that. You can't you can't be a good intentional mom and be a successful business owner. She speaks to the people like me that are already jewel in the business, that are already coming up the ranks, the people that are like, oh yeah, I don't have, and like she's literally handling objections and things for these people, constantly encouraging you to have these transformations just from following her posts and just be, it's like, but if we are just sitting there posting decluttering content or just posting health content, we are missing all those people. So that's Chelsea and I were like, yeah, we can tell you how to organize your binder. We can tell you how to like have a couple things in place to like, but if we, and it matters and we can talk about that. But like seriously, the bigger thing is like we've had these huge behind the scenes realizations of the bottom of the winning day. You can scratch all that stuff off because listen, at the end of the day, if you miss a credit card decline message to somebody who's here and she's in it, she's either already realized it or she's going to get it fixed. She really probably doesn't need you to do anything about it. Let's just call it for what it is. Like if you have somebody that is like, you miss their 1 week check-in and they stop the products, I'm sorry, but was that really worth your energy and your time? So I think Chelsea and I've gotten to this place that, and like I worked with Jessica Halfley last year, and I read the 10X book, and I was on Diamond Sprint calls with Genevieve, and I really realized that was when I really realized I had been leading with the products and not the business, and that was the big problem. And that's why I wasn't getting where I wanted to go. But also I had to then deal with some of the pain of the shedding who I used to be and where I was of like, what if the girls on my team don't like this? What if they think I don't care about them anymore if they don't want to go Jewel? What if they think that I'm gonna like leave them? What if they, because like Chelsea said, listen, if you just want to make $500, guys, we're here for it. We love you. We want to help you do that. But what Chelsea and I are here to do that we've gotten crystal clear on and where we're heading, like she said in 2025, is leading a team of women that all want to go Jewel. Listen, how far you want to go with that, fine. And again, if you want to be senior Ruby and you love it, fine. But I think the reason most of us will not say like, oh, I want to go Jewels because we're afraid that maybe we can't. I was so scared when Chelsea put up the post on like January 1 back in like 2021 about going on Emerald Extravaganza. Nobody else commented on that post, but she cast vision for me that day. And she's like, who's going with me? And there were people that were like, I want to go. But see, I've learned I'm not looking for the people that want to go. I'm not looking for the people that are like, that would be nice. And I'm praying I can. And I hope and I'd like to. It's all passive and you're already giving yourself an out. I'm not looking to work with those people anymore. I'm looking for the people that are like, I'm going on that dang boat. How do I get there? What do I need to do? You tell me and I'll do it. That's who I want to work with. So we can't be bogged down anymore with all the people, right? And also, if that's you, you're like, I just want $500. I don't think I ever want more. Again, we love you and that's fine, but you need to get clear for you because then the way Chelsea and I are going to be posting and showing up is not going to work for you if you don't want that, right? So like she said, it's just getting clear on what do you want in the season. And just because we want to go all in and we want to go diamond, that doesn't mean that you need to want to. But we also know that we can't keep expending energy. And like I said, like the smaller, I was telling you, listen, how many times I have gotten bogged down in just trying to keep people on these products for 60 or 90 days. And I'm in these voice clips and I'm coaching it. It just happened to me where I spent a month helping a level two, like a level one's mom who was a level two. And she just stopped the products and is returning everything. And I'm like, was it worth it? Was the amount of time I spent in phone calls one-on-one and voice clips worth it? Truly, sometimes you got to stop and take inventory. Or should I just have sent a text once a week, super quick? It's like we all have to decide like this person is definitely worth some extra time and energy, but are you going to have that to give them if you're spending it in all these other places? So I want to hear the rest of what Chelsea had to say, but I just want to add in like, again, it matters in the customer care, but we've come to these realizations and maybe you have too, or maybe this call, you sit there and you're thinking, yeah, the way I've been showing up on social media, Ashley and I met recently and we were talking about this girl's got a huge, huge financial why, and she is going for legacy income, but her page didn't know that. Her followers didn't know that. None like, and it wasn't out there for anybody. So there was a disconnect between who she's trying to reach and help. And now she's already taken steps. And we've been like working her and Chelsea and her and me. And it's so cool because that's probably why it wasn't working. She wasn't just fully putting out there and embracing who she's here to help, who she's here to lead, and letting herself step into that and do it and making it clear. Right. And so like each of you gets to do that too. And I'm what Chelsea said. I know she's going diamond in 2025. I don't yet know that I absolutely got to work on that belief, but I know I'm going sapphire. Our team is going to be there in 2025 at least. And so, but we need to give ourselves permission to just show up. And I listened to a really great call. I'll drop it tomorrow. Chelsea was in my head with Ed Milet, and I don't know what it was, but something popped up on my recommended podcast today from him and a girl, Jasmine. I don't even know who she is, but apparently I'm almost done. Incredible podcast. And she was talking about batch creating and content. And that's one thing I'm like, Chelsea, speak on that because I'm really bad. I've never had a day where I've like batched content for the week ahead. I always say it. I'm not uber organized. And that's the only other thing I want to say is if you feel like you're like, well, I'm not like Chelsea. I'm not the systems queen. I'm not super organized. I just want you to know that you can go Emerald too, because that's me. And that was me. And so like I've made progress. I do actually proud to say I do have one Plexus Finder now. It is pretty well organized. Like I am actually Chelsea's daily plan. She's got, I kind of tweaked it. I think you guys can probably get it for free. I don't remember. It might have done like $1 or $2 when she did it, her daily plan. And she was saying how she laminated it and she puts it on her fridge. And I go back and forth between hers and Jessica Halfways. And I tweaked hers just a bit because she let me do the Canva thing with like my, prayer walk with my dog and my like planning out my day. But I'm telling you, planning out your day in the morning, if there's nothing else you do when you get up, knowing like these are the 3 things I have to do. Like, and honestly, let's say business voice clip, that business voice clip has been on there every day for me for like a month or two because I still haven't made it a non-negotiable daily habit that it happens without me. So it's staying on there until it's just the way that things are happening, right? Like no matter what, and I don't have to think about it anymore, but you do not have to be uber organized, but I would say you would be really smart to do what she said, the bottom of that winning day sheet. We have a lot of ways we can spend our time and our energy in this business and every day, a lot of them. Team chats, like I've been guilty too of being like, you see it pop up and you click on it, Listen, y'all, that should be the last thing. Like maybe check it first because Chelsea usually drops something cool in the morning that'll motivate you, inspire you, something good. But then maybe you tell yourself, I'm not going to check it again until the night when my activity is done. Maybe you don't let yourself check it. Maybe you give yourself that accountability. Genevieve told me, do not by 10 a.m. set an alarm on your phone, 10 a.m. every day, share the product with one, share the business with one. If you, like she said, if you don't do anything else that day, if you have shared the product, shared the business, or maybe you're shifting into where Chelsea and I am, where we're basically just sending business messages. I had to catch myself. Like she said, you default. I defaulted yesterday when I got in my box to start inviting to the product and free reset. I'm like, why am I doing that? That's not aligned with where I want to go and who I'm trying to reach. And so we just got to catch ourselves and know that not all activity and energy is created equal. So send like she said, mentoring your team, if you don't have a team yet, that looks like your VIPs that you're trying to develop to silver, right? And hosting an event for them, getting in 3-way messages with their people. Like that's where it starts. And then also like your own personal development. It's the biggest thing I see people mess up in this business. Like, I don't have the time for it. I don't have the time for it. I'm like, well, guess what? Then your business isn't going to grow. We can sit here and give you the perfect verbiage all day long. And if you do not believe that you can be successful in this, if you are struggling with massively feeling unworthy, if you are like the most, whatever you struggle with super time or super like my nature is perfectionism. That perfectionism will kill me in my business every single day, every single time, where I don't post for a whole month and it turns into this post paralysis and it turns into overthinking and it turns into like, I can't put it out there until it's good enough. And then it never goes up. And like, y'all, so I have 12 books downstairs on perfectionism and the gifts of imperfection and present over perfect. I have been working on this for a decade, but I'm telling you, like, you got to find people that are going to want to do the work because your business will never grow more than you do. If you aren't serious about your own growth, your business is going to stay in the same place. Chelsea and I are both serious about our personal growth. We always have been. We've invested in that, and you've got to be too. So that your personal development in the morning, like she said, filling your own cup, doing what you need to do to have good energy for the day. Don't wake up and get on your phone. Don't wake up and start your messages until you've done something for you. Or maybe that is something that allows you to have good energy the rest of the day. Chelsea's gotten clear on this is when I have good energy. I'm waking up and I'm doing work in the morning, but like everyone's got to kind of figure that out. So we can't tell you one right way to work your business, but that clarity that you need to get of how far do I want to go with this and and what's standing in my way, and then get out of your own dang way. And we're here to help you do that. But yeah, I want to hear what she says to close this out because it's been so good. This is so different than what we planned, but I'm like, it just all needed to be said.
Had to come out. It had to come out. I guess the last thing, like I'll just say and kind of wrap us up because it is after 9, but something that I was, and kind of Kim, you kind of touched on this too, of